Hello everyone and welcome. Well, that was interesting. Hello everyone and welcome back. So we've been thinking, and when that happens, we tend to overthink. Sometimes the what ifs get really convincing. I know. Uh-oh. Let's talk about one in particular. I have a theory that may change the way you see Mortal Kombat entirely. Well, mostly. What if the events of the first movie took place primarily on an experimental psych ward island? I posit that our friends Liu Kang, Sonya Blade, and Johnny Cage are all patients in some wacky delusion upon a privately owned island. But wait, there's more! As most people who are sinister enough to run experiments on people in the first place go, there is a deeper game afoot. One that is not uncommon for similar deviants. Let's start at the beginning, and I'll submit my evidence to support the thesis that the lovable gang of misfits are actually all mentally unstable. We'll have to start with a little bit of the backstory that they give us in the motion picture. Who's feeling furious? I'm feeling furious, so strap in cause it gets crazy. Our hero Lukewarm wakes up from a bad dream about the alleged death of his brother. This is confirmed by the lengthy, well-detailed note delivered by Western Union. Western Union, delivering unfortunate news in as few words as possible since 1851. Seriously, here's an advertisement from 1939. Grandpa don't do surcharges. 35 cents for 15 words breaks down to about 2.3 each. And that's my 2 cents. We also get to see Sonya Blade's intro where her and her new partner are searching for the person who killed her old partner. Obsession. The kind that makes you do crazy things. The damsel of disaster breaks into a rave that she heard that this guy Kano might be at, and immediately starts bashing people who are not in fact Kano. She assaults no less than 8 non-Kanos, whose only crimes are possible noise violations and living life loudly. And probably substance abuse of some sort. Look at these guys. No one is responding. Me and my friends are at a party, and one of them gets blindsided by some jerk who goes around hitting other people's friends. Probably gonna take notice and go stop the server of cereal sucker punches. I would become the spartender. That's not all, folks. As soon as she's done elbowing her way through the crowd, the guy who comes to greet her takes a shotgun blast to the chest. What kind of bully shoots a receptionist at a rave? I guess you could say he had a gun, but maybe it was a cell phone or a flashlight. People have been wrong about that sort of thing before. I don't know. I wasn't there. Either way, he loses consciousness and maybe even his life amidst his interrogation. He died under great duress atop this fancy-looking table covered in broken glass. It is not even established that he speaks English in order to answer her insanity. Guy was probably just working his Monday night rave shift when he got a call to respond to some psycho on the dance floor. Probably just chuckled about her being illegally blonde on the dance floor with a shotgun before getting wasted. Shang Tsung's in the background talking with Kano, and I presume that he had the intel fed to Sonya so she could come here, snap, and he could get her admitted onto his island. Johnny Cage. Oh, Johnny. His story was a fame and success. Until something controversial happened. I think one of his stunts went wrong, somebody got seriously hurt, and now everything that he's built is put on trial. It could be a lot to think about, you know? We join him in the middle of a shoot, clearly taking his aggression out on his coworkers. Man, I wish I could have zapped some of my previous associates with cattle prods. Then he leaves after taking the scene too far. Threatening to leave the movie on the last scene of the shoot. Probably a hard guy to work with, it seems. Then he even threatens to take his own life in graphic detail. Joke? Sure. But maybe not. Or does this behavior have a record? He has a brief conversation with Shang in disguise, who convinces him by joining this tournament he can prove himself and show the world that he's not a fraud after all. Basically, Shang showed up at the peak of his pre-breakdown phase and convinced him to commit himself. Speeds up the process a little bit, you know? Luki goes to see his grandpa, and coincidentally his psychiatrist Raiden is there. He lashes out against him physically in a slight episode and then takes off, and Raiden tells his grandfather that he'll take good care of him and he's going to put him on the island. All three of these people who had tragic, unforeseen incidents happen to them have found their way to this island for some reason or another. Liu, revenge for his brother. Sonya, revenge for her partner. Johnny, just a chance to prove that he's a real deal. All of them bear one thing in common: the will to fight. As they head there on the boat, they meet Shang Tsung, one of the other head psychs, and his two orderlies, Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Look familiar? I propose that Scorpion had a history of violent tendencies, and this ordeal that occurs on the boat is pinned on him as sort of a last straw, and that is what gets him committed when they finally get back to Riker Island. Oh, and that crazy scene with the ghosts flying around the three?
It has begun!
Yeah, new medications can have some wild side effects. Sonya and Johnny cling to their false personas, but Sonya's radio doesn't seem to work on the island, and Johnny is getting no clout as a famous movie star. Interesting. So it's a big fancy island with a big fancy feast to let everybody in, and during this big fancy feast, we have an episode happen. A big scene breaks out, and patients are flipping over tables as Sub-Zero comes out and subdues a patient with his tranquilizer gun. When he shoots you, you freeze. Get it? Fun show of force, guys. We see Goro in the background talking with Kano. Goro is an orderly with giantism who used to work at the circus. He absorbed his twin in utero, but he has his arms poking out as a defect. Hence why the carnival crews welcomed him with open arms. Kano is ex-military search and rescue. He works on the island after a grenade explosion blew off half his face, and he had a red eye placed in there for intimidation factor. Kano is in charge of collecting new patients like Sonya and occasionally bringing back the escapees. Liu Kang catches Reptile, the alcoholic janitor, drinking on the job, and then Reptile throws weak acid in his eyes and runs away. Yeah, Reptile is the janitor. Why do you think he's always creeping around, stalking and seeing everything? Then after they wander around for a while, they make their way back into the main hall where they are physically assaulted yet again by some of the more violent patients there. After fending them off, they are faced with Raiden applauding their good work. Raiden is trying to make a consistent scene of things here so that there is reason to investigate. Raiden's the one trying to bring this to light. I suppose now I should explain a little bit of my ramblings so I don't seem like the crazy one. It's more than just a psych ward. More directly, there is a deep, tragic, and even disturbing game of chess being played from the shadows. Sort of a my crazy dudes can beat your crazy dudes thing. Raiden is one of the head psychiatrists there, also in charge of electroshock therapy. Get it? God of Thunder? And he is basically making the Suicide Squad to uncover and hopefully thwart the illicit schemes that are being done in the background by Shang Tsung, who is one of the other head psychiatric officials. Our buddy Slam Dunk is also the ice pick guy, the hole puncher, the lobotomizer. That is why he seemingly steals their souls. Many botched lobotomies left patients non-responsive. I wonder why. They can't, so I will for them. Let's all bow our heads in wonder for those who cannot. Alright, back to the story. So Sonya gets to beat up Kano for killing her partner, or bringing them here. She would probably recognize her partner if she wasn't so crazy at this point. I'm sure he's here somewhere. Someone's looking excited. That didn't last long, of course. Scorpion used to be one of the tough guy orderlies, who got really rough with the clients so he could get them into their straitjackets. Hence, he always yells, "Get over here," to the patients he chases. Totally losing it though, I can see him understanding the jackets enough for him to be able to get his arms out in front of him so he can continue ensnaring people in his ropey doom. We find him frolicking about in the woods like the psychopath he is, making his demands about immediate increases in proximity. When he stumbles upon a very sedated Johnny Cage. Johnny and Scorps play in the woods, kicking the crud out of each other until Johnny gets the upper hand and tears dude's face off, trying to unmask him. Worst Scooby-Doo reveal ever. So, by the way, how did Johnny Cage get out of heck after Scorpion took him there? You guys remember that? Is there just a door that leads back up? Next, we have Katana, who is the troublemaking daughter of the original owner of the asylum. She was adopted by the guy who owns it now. She tells Liu where Sub-Zero keeps his tranquilizer gun while kicking his butt, and then Liu Kang goes and finds him and uses it on Sub-Zero to subdue him, giving him a taste of his own medicine. And then there's Goro. After Goro kills a whole bunch of stunt doubles, he goes and kills Johnny Cage's friend, which really upsets him. Johnny delivers the package punch and then shoves him off the roof of the institution. His screen time is short and sad, which feels fitting after years of torturing patients. Don't feel bad for him because he comes from the circus. Some sideshow freaks are just bad people. Take it from this sideshow freak. Oh, that's a big corpse to cover up. Like that room full of wounded bodies earlier that Raiden allowed to happen. Things are getting really messy, huh? With the chaos increasing, Shang Tsung utilizes this time to kidnap Sonya amidst the confusion. Raiden explains that this isn't the first time it's happened and it's one of his major problems with the villain. He allows them to chase after him, but doesn't go himself because he cannot have any involvement to maintain his innocence for the final act. Compared to their island resort, the mainland looks like garbage now. Also probably doesn't help that they've been on psychiatric medications for probably a while. Once they arrive on the mainlands, Liu Kang recognizes Reptile, who is drinking after his shift. Presuming that he had something to do with Sonya's disappearance, he catches him outside, beats the snot out of him, and kills his pet iguana. Sirens in the distance, with police on their way, the two continue on their trail to find Shang. Old Liu Kang and Johnny Cage running through the forest. Of course they run into Katana in Outworld. She's one of the few that are actually allowed to leave. She agrees to take them to Shang and explains that she wants him gone too. The facility her father used to run was actually a good one where they helped a lot of people, and this guy needs to go down. Here's the part that no matter how you look at it, it's just wrong and shouldn't be here at all. She's taken against her will to a weird place that is filled with people in robes that you just know are cultists. And she's tied to two poles above an engraved symbol on the ground. Ominous as heck. She is dirty, disheveled, and in a totally different outfit than we saw her in last time. I don't think she picked out that dress. You know what that means. Reading the signals, the crew is now enraged, and Liu steps up to challenge the madman himself, while Johnny steps up to put his foot in his mouth one last time.
Nice dress.
So I think the people that Shang Tsung called up out of the ground were actually law enforcement officials coming to arrest Liu Kang. Instead of listening to what they had to say, the police try to arrest Liu Kang, which they fail to do. He kicks their butts and then runs up the stairs to force Shang to confess for his crimes. Old Man Sung tries to fool him, but even Crazy Kang can stay focused now and gets him to admit not only kidnapping Sonya, but also lobotomizing his brother unfairly. What did you think stealing his soul really was? Which makes those thin blades that come out of the logo a really interesting parallel, don't it? Liu defeats him, but spares his life, kicking him off the balcony into his lobotomy tools. Liu gets closure. They cart Shang out to the ER, and the three are released into Raiden's personal care as the rest of the facility undergoes investigation. As they are out celebrating at a fair, the owner, Shao Kahn, comes out on TV to dispute the claims and try to lay the blame upon the three and Raiden, saying it was all some elaborate ruse, but
I don't think so.
So what do you think? Was the insanity convincing for you?
Too much television.
These series of events echo through the abandoned halls of old asylums. Some stories are even more horrifying. A doctor running experiments on patients on private property, frequently kidnapping those patients for nefarious purposes, is not unheard of. I told you it got crazy. A tale of madness, designed by madmen. Hopefully now, the foreheads of the innocent can rest a little easier. Ah, we meet again.